Okay, in the previous video we've been able to create a very basic website, and just double click on it, then right click here, say open with Firefox. Okay, this is our first website. Now this here is what we'll define in the body part of our HTML, and this is our title. I'm just going to bring out the code. So get the code again, just right click the index and then go over here and then open with Notepad. Okay, so you see in our title we have Heroes World there, and this our title. Just gonna close this guy here, Heroes World. So I'm gonna change it now to First Pentecost Church. First Pentecost Church. Do a quick save here. Just click save from the file menu or press the Ctrl S, then come over here to your browser and then refresh. I can press the Ctrl arrow to refresh. This is it, First Pentecost Church. Now in the body area, this is what we define there. This is our first website, this is our first website. Alright, so we could change something here to, let's say, welcome to Pentecost Church. Alright, Ctrl S to save it, and then come here, Ctrl arrow to refresh. You see, welcome to Pentecost Church. So it's a good start for us. Just gonna keep going. Now I'm gonna point out something here. HTML is not a respecter of extra space in between words. For instance, I've added some more space there. Refresh my work. It's not going to obey you. Now let me just get rid of this guy here. And it's not also a respecter of your carriage return here. Maybe you press the enter key, you save your work, and then you refresh. It's going to ignore all of that stuff. But the only thing HTML is going to obey is the use of the right tags. The use of the right tags as the code. Now to break my work down, I'm going to apply the BR tag. BR means break. So just save your work, refresh here, and you see it comes down. If you want it down some more, just add some more break here. Ctrl S and then refresh your work. It's going to come down. So it's a pretty cool stuff. But to arrange my code, I'm going to take this one down, but it makes no difference in the preview of our work. Okay, so this is a very basic site. There are a couple of things you could actually do with HTML. Let me get another thing here. Welcome. I'm going to save this now, refresh. Welcome. You see, this is welcome to Pentecost Church, but I want this guy to come down. So after this welcome, I'm going to put my BR tag, BR for break, come here and then refresh. I think this is nice. I'm going to get rid of one of the BR so it's not too much. Okay. Alright, so now I want to quickly point out something here. HTML works with tags and elements. A tag is what differentiates in a normal text from an HTML code. For instance, we have two types of tags. We have the start tag and we have the end tag. The start tag can also be called the open tag, while the end tag can also be called the close tag. Okay, so alright, so let's see something here. Okay. Okay, we talked about tags and elements. The elements is what is used to split or divide parts of an HTML code. For instance, this is an HTML element. An element comprised of a start tag, the content, and then an end tag. Alright, so for instance, this head region could be an element because it's comprised of the start tag, the everything here could be the content of it, and then here is the end tag. So even the body could be an element. So this is the start tag, what is here becomes the content, and here is the end tag. So the entire HTML code is also an element. Alright, so that's it. We have the element and we have the tag. Then another thing about HTML is that we have what's known as attributes. Attributes are used to format or to change the properties of an HTML tag or element, and attributes are always inserted at the start tag of our work. For instance, there's the body element, there's the start tag, there's the end tag. You come in here, you give one space, and then you could enter some kind of attributes. So for instance, some of the attributes of body, we have the BG color, Attribute name is always equal to quoted value, so the bg color equal red, so red is the value assigned to bg color here. Could save my work, and then you'll see I've used our attribute to change the property of our page, so we now have a red background here for our work. Some of the tag or elements could have more than one attribute. For instance, if the body element could have the bg color attribute and also the text attribute. Text equal white. Text is used to change the color of the text on your document. Alright, so this is it. A couple of other things could be added to some elements and tag. Alright, so the very first tag that I've shown you in dealing with HTML document, I've shown you the BRO tag. So I'm going to show you some other tags like the H1 tag. We have the H1 here. Could close. Let me get rid of this BRO. I don't need it here. Close H1 file. Save my work. H1 means heading. We have different kind of H1. We have different kind of headings rather. We have the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6, with H1 being the biggest and H6 being the smallest. I'm gonna change this guy now to H6. You see it's gonna be small. Okay, so let me leave it at H1. You see, refresh. Then let me change it now to like H3. You're gonna see the difference here. Save your work and then refresh. You see the H3. So, and it goes on and on like that. H1, fetch your work. Alright, so this for heading. Now apart from the heading and the BRO, we still have another kind of tag called HRO. HRO means horizontal rule. You can go ahead and insert it here. Okay, so it's a pretty cool stuff. After the Pentecost church, I just want to add another HRO there. HRO, save your work and then refresh. Alright, so this is our website and we are moving on. Okay, so like the H1, we have attributes of H1. Now every tag and elements have a couple of attributes that could be applied to them. For instance, the attributes for body may not work for H1 and may not work for HRO. So for every tag, for every element, there's a unique kind of attribute that could work for them. Now for the H1, we have the align attributes. Okay, so you could say align equal to center. Save your work and then refresh. You're gonna put this guy at the center of our work. Alright, so now talking about the horizontal rule, that's the HRO. Some of the attributes that could be applied to it is we could say size equal 10. Could refresh this guy now. You see up here bigger, and then we have the color equal, let's say green. I'm using the color name, but if you know the color code, you could go ahead and then impute it there. So that's it. And what else again? We have width equal, let's say 300. In website we measure in pixels, so 300 there is same thing as 300 pixels. Pixels means picture elements. Alright, so from here we could just copy this guy from here, and then I don't want to stress myself, just copy this guy and then replace this guy here. Save your work and then do a quick refresh. Okay, so this is our work. I'm just gonna zoom this guy to see it in the full screen. Alright, so restore down again. Okay, so this is it. Also have the align attributes. Align, that is the horizontal rule, equal by default is been aligned to center, so I want to change it to left. Align left. Alright, so I'm just gonna do the same thing for the guy down there. Alright, so now I'm using a fixed width, a fixed width for our horizontal rule, just 300, meaning 300 pixels. I could say I want it to be let's say 800. Refresh your work is going to be 800. You understand? But sometimes I might want to say just take up half the screen. I don't want to use a fixed width, but I want to use a certain percentage, so I can say take up 50% of the screen. You understand? So no matter what your screen is, it's going to take up 50% of it. Okay, so I think it's a pretty cool stuff. For instance, let's say like on a mobile device that's smaller, if you say 800 pixel, that means you need to scroll horizontally to get to the end of it. Now, but when you're working with the percentage, you see on a full screen it's like this. Now on a smaller screen, let me restore down, you see it's still 50%. If I reduce it, it's still 50%. But you see this guy here is using a fixed width of 300. Now when I reduce, this guy stays static. Okay, and that's the I think that could be a downside there. So you now have to scroll here to see the end of it. Okay, so not too good. I like it flexible, right? But sometimes some things that have the pros also have the cons. So let me just stick to 60%, or let me leave it at 500 pixels. Okay, alright, so you could do some kind of modification. You could pause the video and then do your own modification and see how you're going along with it. Okay, so I'm trying to see how I can modify this page now. I want to change the background color to things like orange. I'm gonna do a quick refresh here, and then I want to change the text color to something let's say red. And some we could even change this to pink. Alright, so these are some things you could do with HTML. Now another thing I'm gonna do now is to work with the paragraph tag. Now for instance, now this welcome to Pentecost Church is at the left of our screen. Now you see this guy is just standing on his own, so there is no how we could assign the align attributes to it, because the align must always be the attribute must always be assigned to the start tag of an element. For instance, this guy is a start tag. We call this a standalone tag. A standalone tag does not have a corresponding end tag, so this is standalone tag. So whether it's a standalone tag or the start tag, you could easily assign the attributes to it. So this is an attribute, this is an attribute, this is an attribute. Alright, so for welcome to Pentecost Church, there's no start tag or end tag that's holding this guy together. So there's no element that's holding this guy together. So I'm just going to look for a way to make an element hold that guy. So the element is what? P, paragraph. So I'm going to say, hey HTML, or hey browser, this here is a paragraph. So it says, okay, this is a paragraph. I'm going to refresh it. It's going to handle it like a paragraph. Now as a paragraph, what are the things that you could do to a paragraph? You just say I can assign the align attributes to it. So I could say align center, so it's going to put it at the center. So it's a pretty cool stuff for you. Now in addition to this course, there's still one more thing I want to show you before I conclude this video. You could also assign things like the copyright symbol, or the trademark, or what have you, some kind of symbols. Understand? We call them character entities in HTML. So underneath this horizontal rule, I'm just going to put something like copyright 2015 First Pentecost Church. Okay, so I want to pen the okay, let me just do this, refresh. I want a copyright symbol to appear here. Okay, so to do that, you're going to use some kind of codes to get it. Just say and copy semicolon. Alright, so these are copyrights. You understand? So we have a couple of other tools like ROEG, what's this? Register trademark. So you could go to Google and then go to the W3 schools to see a couple of character entities that you could apply in HTML documents. But for this case, I'm going to say and copy. Now, I said something initially that HTML does not respect your extra space. Maybe you do things like, where is this guy now? Pentecost Church. HTML will not allow this. Okay, it's gonna just ignore every extra space and shrink them all to become one space. Now, but you could use character entity to apply some more space, like and non-breaking space and NBSP. You must always end every character entity with this semicolon, just like I end this guy with semicolon, and it must start with the and, the ampersand and symbol there. Now I'll save my work. Then take note of this guy. You see something? Alright, that's some extra space there. So if I need more than one space, I'm just going to apply this more than once. Okay, so refresh your work. You see it? So that's it. So HTML will always obey the right tag, the right coding pattern, or right syntax for your work. Okay, so this is how far we could go for this video. In the next video, we're going to look at some more tags and elements, but for now, just stay tuned.